Hello and welcome to another episode of For the Record India. I am Pranav and today we have with us the thrash metal heavyweight from Vasai, Mumbai, Carnage Inc. Hello guys.
Yeah, hi Pranav.
Hi Pranav. Hi. Thanks for having us.
We have with us Varun Panchal and Nikhil. Varun is the vocalist and the rhythm guitarist and Nikhil is the bassist for the band. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, considering whatever the situation has been in 2020, pretty good, I would say. Yeah, it's been a ride, but holding on.
And how has the music been for you? Have you guys been working or has the work stopped as well?
To be honest, yeah, I mean we have been working on music. It's definitely been slower than the regular years that we've been jamming almost every weekend, rehearsing, making music. That's taken a hit in the last 1 year. But we still not stopped on coming up with ideas and stuff. We've still not stopped making sure that the ball is kept rolling. So yeah, I mean it's a little slow, but yeah, it's still going on. We met I think once between the last 2 months, and that's actually that was about it for an actual physical meeting. But the music has kept flowing. We keep writing music. I keep sharing riffs and stuff. The bandmates share ideas. We have some plans, for 2021. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, just to sort of wrap it up, I would say, yeah, it's been going on. Not that great, but still keeping on.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I'm happy to see that you guys are working and the music is coming out. I recently discovered you guys, to be honest. I'm not much of a metal listener. I'm more into electronic and pop and psychedelic music. But I recently discovered you guys, and I mean, I was blown away by whatever I listened to. I listened to your recent album Tenebris, which came out last year, I guess. So that's what I listened to, and I was totally blown away. So I'm hoping that the next stuff that comes out is better than whatever I've listened to. uh, I'd like to know more about you guys. I mean, how did you guys meet, and how did Carnage Inc. come into being?
Um, so it's a long path actually. I'll just try to sort of brief it up. We started back in Masai
Yeah,
as a
sure.
two-piece band. It was our ex-drummer Olaf and me, and we sort of we used to listen to all the old school thrash and heavy metal stuff. It was mainly consisting a lot of you can say Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and all that stuff. Priest. So yeah, I mean, we sort of grew up on that diet, and then it eventually led to going towards the heavier, thrashier stuff. And there was a point where it was not just two of us. I mean, the idea sort of evolved, and we did realize that this is not just a passion project anymore. It's more of a it needs to go to the next level. So we started recruiting members, and it eventually led to I think three lead guitarists sort of coming in and going off until we settled on to Sudhir, which
Yeah.
was our ex guitarist. I mean, he stayed the longest uh, till we moved on to Naveen, obviously, who's our current guitarist now. And in the bass department, we
Mm.
had Jason earlier, and then he departed about 4 years back, I
Mm.
think, 4 or 5 years back. And then Nikhil joined, who's now here. And on drums, Olav also left. I think the same time when Jason had about a year ago, I think. And then Moin joined in, who was part of a alternative rock act, which is called Playground. So yeah, I mean that's how we sort of came together. There's a lot
Okay.
of in between stories and all that happened, which is sort of very in depth, I would say. But just to sum it up, it was not an easy ride. Since we came from Vasai, access to a lot of the competitions, because college competitions were the avenue to sort of showcase your talent then. So the access to all these competitions was a little
Yeah.
difficult for us since we were in college and all that, and the money was not that fluid. So
Mm.
it is always difficult to reach and make sure that we are sort of competing all these competitions. But eventually we were noticed. you can say it's because we didn't play the trending sort of genres then. At that point, it was, I think, metalcore and groove, which is, I mean, we don't despise it or
Hmm.
anything, but we just didn't sort of fall into that category. We wanted to play pacey and aggressive music, so we were in that space, and a lot of people noticed us. There were some good bands, you can say, who sort of encouraged us. We got inspired by them, and yeah, eventually it led to us four coming together, which is the strongest lineup right now. It's me on rhythms and vocals, Nikhil on bass, Moin on drums, and Naveen on lead guitars. And that's lasted, I think, for the last 4 years. Tenebris is, I would say, the best culmination of the four sounds that we all have. Like we are not all thrash heads as such. I think the
Indeed.
the person who listens to most thrash
Yeah.
here would be me, followed by Nikhil, I think. But the thing is, everyone gets a different sound, and I think Tenebris is like the best sort of culmination. So, in if I were to go on a whim and say, yeah, it's sort of all these years we were just sort of building that sound, and now that recent album has sort of shown us that okay, this is you, that together sound sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty evident from the album. I mean, it sounds amazing. I love it. Nikhil, what's your story? I mean, how did you get in contact with these guys?
So I've been listening to metal since when I was probably in my class 8 or class 9. Been listening to metal since then, and so I knew these guys because we were part of the same scene from Vasai, and there were two other separate bands as such. So I have always knew these guys. Naveen, our guitarist, we were college mates, so we started our first band together way back in college. But and I knew at back that there was a band called Carnage in Vasai. They also play thrash, and so we were of the knew that there are like similar people around us, and just we met probably at around 2013 14 via friends, and we have remained close friends since then. So we have a tight knit close group of friends here in Vasai, so we always hang out together, and I actually picked up bass quite late, so it was probably at around 2014 15. I thought of maybe I should pick up an instrument because I was very much influenced by bassists who into extreme metal who played like Alex Webster and such. So I picked up bass, and when there was an opportunity or when Jason had to leave, so these guys approached me, and there was no hesitation as such because I had already knew these guys. So yeah, I joined these guys in I think so around 2016, and this has been a stable lineup since then. And yeah, with regards to taste, I've
Hmm.
always listened to uh, well, metal is my primary listening genre. You can say I do explore other genres as such, but it's always been metal and thrash in general. So yeah, it's a win-win situation for me because I exactly play the kind of music which I like, and more or less I'm playing with with friends who are like more than friends, who are brothers. So we are like family, and happy to be a part of Carnage.
That's great. That's great.
So
Uh,
I would just add to this, Pranav. So the thing is, I actually missed out on a crucial part of how we came together. So Nikhil and Naveen, our guitarist, and Nikhil now the bassist, both of them were part of another band called Negative Theory,
okay.
and Nikhil was the vocalist then, and Naveen was the lead guitarist. And eventually we met through this common friend whose dad drove us, and we sort of jammed together. Now we have this entire yearly annual sort of series, you can say, which we call the annual jam, where it's just friends. It's just 12 or 13 friends of us who love metal. We just come together, we try to cover bands that we love.
Hmm.
That was the first time when we met Nikhil and Naveen, and that's how we sort of that whole camaraderie sort of grew from that place. So yeah, I mean, I think that event, that small jam, is something that kickstarted this whole cycle of coming together and playing music together, and then making a whole band out of this called Carnage Inc and all that. Yeah.
That's
So yeah, that's a thing I actually forgot.
Yeah, that's pretty good to hear. I mean, that was my next question. I mean, honestly speaking, when I heard that there's a thrash metal band in Vasai, I was pretty shocked because it's not a place you relate thrash metal with, I guess. So how is the culture? I mean, how is the metal culture around you guys and in Mumbai in general?
So, so to sort of, I would point to one fest. It was called Octaves, and there's this engineering college called. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nikhil. It's called Vidyavardhini, right?
Yeah,
It's
Vidyavardhan.
Vartak College. I mean,
Yeah,
for
correct.
commoners, we call it Vartak College in Vasai, and it used to hold this fest called Octaves every
Okay.
year. And back then, like back 8 years or 7 years ago, college competitions were the thing, sort of to show your talent if you were a new band, and to relate to other bands who
Yeah.
are in the bigger sort of leagues, because they used to come and headline the college
Yeah.
competition. So yeah, I mean, Octaves was the first arena, you can say, that all these like-minded people from Vasai came together, and we met, spoke about, got drunk, and had a good time. I mean, that was a meeting point for all of us. And slowly it grew into this. I wouldn't call it a subculture. I mean, it's not that big yet, but it slowly grew into this small, uh, I would say, gang of 25, 30, which knows each other very well. And then we just sort of started communicating with each other in terms of metal music, and started sharing what we liked, what we loved. It grew into an actual. I'm just going to come to that later. But when Carnage started, there was quite a lot of you can say personnel in other bands in Mumbai, which was coming from Vasai. So as far as I remember, there's Spike Crib, which was a black metal band. I think Bruce McCoy from Atmosphere
Okay.
is from Vasai. Ashwin Sharma is a manager. He is from Vasai.
Okay.
Shashi Tao from Black was from Vasai. So there were quite a few musicians. So you can say Vasai was not like an alien to the Mumbai music scene, because a lot of people eventually came from there only.
Okay.
So Octaves was like that meeting point, right? And eventually, when we became Carnage Inc, that was our first launch pad, you can say. And we started with our first gig
Hmm.
over there. Uh, and it sort of led to other things, meeting other people. So you can say that was like the turning point for us, Octaves. Culturally, I wouldn't say since it's a majorly Catholic neighborhood in Vasai. It's not very receptive of
Hmm.
heavy metal or rock music for that matter. But somehow I think it's because of the
Yeah, exactly.
rebellious factor of it. It just sort of thrives over there, because there are so many people trying to oppose it. It now grows to a point where now there are two other thrash metal bands who are making their own name in Vasai, which is Bloodkill and Sabotage, very close brothers of ours. Bloodkill is going to put out an EP,
Oh.
and Sabotage is just put out an EP right after Tenebris, or sorry, right before Tenebris. So yeah, I mean, there are three thrash metal bands now, so it's sort of become like a very tight knit, you know, group here, which supports this kind of music, and we are we're actually very happy that it's turned out this way from what it was 7 years ago.
Yeah, I mean that's great. You mentioned college festivals here because I'm from Pune and there are lot many colleges here as well. So mostly these fests prefer artists that play mainstream music or cover, who play covers of popular music because colleges treat festivals
Right.
like an ad for themselves. So I mean it's great to hear that some college brought up at least a tiny culture in their neighborhood and gave a platform for bands that are trying something different. This has been lacking, I guess, in the Indian music scene for now. So that takes me to my next question. I mean, recently there's been an hip hop revolution in Indian music, you can say. Everyone is trying hip hop, everyone is listening to hip hop. And metal has been around in India for quite a long time, I guess for the last 25, 30 years. So why do you think metal has not made it to the
Right.
mainstream even though it has been there for such a long time?
Uh, I mean, it's really not something that I would know, but I would say that it's trends. I would say it's trends. Back 10 years or 8 years back, I think Rock On had come out, and at that point, I think rock music was the trend.
Yeah,
Everyone
rock on.
started to sort of make a rock band, and college festivals were holding many more cultural fests which had bands playing and all that. So this hip hop thing, I think, is just another trend. I'm not dissing anyone. I'm not saying that hip hop musicians who are working really hard and making a name for themselves are following the trend or not or whatever. I'm just saying that right now, because how Gully Boy and all these movies came out, and suddenly it's like a big thing, right? You want to cash in on it.
Yeah,
It's a trend
exactly,
that's easy to cash on, and if you're already
exactly.
established sort of an act in hip hop or rap, it's easy for you to sort of take that as a launch pad, which I don't blame them. I mean, if it was coming our way, we would also try to sort of latch in on something which is thrash metal, which is heavy metal or groove metal, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't think metal has gone anywhere. It's just
Yeah,
yeah. So coming back to your point about colleges, so back then, there were a lot of colleges who were doing this, and there was RUIA, there was SIES. I mean, I don't even remember half of them. I think it was only Xavier's, and there was another Jain run college or something like that who didn't want rock music and metal, which was really stupid to sort of have that outlook. But there were a lot of colleges who actually promoted and sort of gave a stage for rock music then. So I feel, and a lot of the group that we have in Vasai and everything, and a lot of people who come for Mumbai gigs also, we all sort of have this feeling that it was the college gigs that actually got in the new age crowd, the new age metalheads, right? And then now what is happening is, since they have stopped having
yeah.
metal
It's
and rock in college fest, that 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 access to the youth has stopped, I think,
hmm,
for the local bands. I mean, they're still listening to, you can say, Periphery. They're still listening to Metallica. They're still listening to Meshuggah or something, because they are out there, right? They still
exactly.
have avenues that they can reach all these people, but
Yeah,
the local bands don't
yeah,
have that avenue anymore. Back then, for us, when we were in Mumbai, the way we got to hear Zignema and Scepter and Devoid and Cryptos and all these other bands was through college competitions. We couldn't afford to go to Bangalore or go to some other city, right? We could only afford to go to free college fest where we could just show our
yeah,
IDs, walk in, and yeah, have a great
exactly,
time. So
exactly.
I feel that is
Yeah,
that is something that is lacking now. I don't think metal has gone away as such. It's just taking a backseat, I can say.
yeah. That I meant that metal has been in the background for quite a. It's been kind of an underground culture for a very long time. Because there are so many good bands in India now that I'm listening to some. I mean, there's Godless, there's Gutslit. I mean, these are the people I started listening to when I was introduced to death metal, and these people are just amazing. I mean, you can't believe that there's such talent in India and it's not
True, true.
known to those many people. Because when I see Godless just having 4,000 followers on Instagram, it makes me kind of sad because they're just unbelievable. If you like, I
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, and there are some,
yeah. It does
new
suck.
age rappers who, yeah, it does. I mean, this culture, it deserves a lot more recognition. So, do you think metal needs another something like a Gully Boy to get into the mainstream as such?
Okay, if you ask me, this is my personal opinion. No, I don't think it needs one. I think it's a culture
Yeah,
of the I would say people who are not accepted by society, and it was always that culture which was not supposed to be for everyone, right? I mean, not everyone gets a
yeah,
godless,
that
not
is
everyone
true.
gets a gutslit. I mean, they will come to a gutslit show and they'll be like, okay,
Hmm.
what the fuck is happening? Why are there so many blast beats and why are the songs just 2 minutes? They'll probably be just like shocked. Okay, why is there
Yeah,
so much action and violence happening in the crowd front?
yeah. The
They won't get it, right. So it was always
the
meant
worst reaction I
for.
get is like, why are these people screaming when the vocal? Why is the vocalist screaming? Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's true.
true, true. So yeah, the way I see it is, I don't think we need like a big opening. I think that the bands can do on their own. I mean, if you look at Gutslit
Hmm.
or Cryptos, they have already made pathways
Yeah, they have.
into the West. They've made pathways into Japan and stuff. I mean, Amorphia, a very young band, which is probably like the same age as us or something. I don't know. I mean, younger than us, but the band is
Hmm.
the same age as us. They have gone into Japan, done a tour and all that stuff. So, which is really cool, right? I mean, I don't think we need like a mainstream thing to sort of happen and then we get recognition. I think the recognition is organic when it's coming through from the people who actually like metal. If it goes to the mainstream, it's great. You might sell more records and stuff, which might help. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything. It might help. It might propel the entire scene into a different direction. But then it might also lead to something like load and reload in terms of
Yeah.
Metallica, right? So Metallica was like
Yeah.
the ruling band for such a long time, and then it became mainstream because of the grunge culture
Yeah.
and all that. They went into a different direction. They sold a lot more copies, but then that's when a lot of people say that metal died
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And then it's just it feels like then it doesn't stay metal enough. Then it just becomes
Yeah.
something else. So yeah, that's my personal opinion. I mean, it definitely would be better if a mainstream shockwave sort of came through and a lot of the good local
Yeah.
bands get a boost. But personally, I don't feel that's
Uh,
necessary as
See,
such.
it's
Nikhil, what do you
more
think?
or less based on the community aspect. So come what may, it's metal will kind of still remain an underground scene, underground as in when we compare it with the more popular or commercial music like Bollywood or other scenes. So end of the day, if music is fairly
Hmm.
listened to a less number of people as compared to these other genres. So to have those many those small amount of people sustain for a long time, it's a task. So regarding the commercial aspect, I'm not sure, because end of the day, the this scene which I have been a part of since quite a some time, it's a younger scene. So like when we it always like you see a lot of metalheads who are just college going kids, so who come into the scene, they stick around for a few time. And I do, and I think so
Hmm.
Varun will also agree on this, that there are a lot of people who then eventually branch out to other genres. Maybe they get older or they listen to other genres as such. So metal in India right now, you can say it's uh, not that as a big community, but surely there are like certain acts which are like, say, like Varun said, cryptos. Like if you see cryptos' social media numbers or their Spotify numbers or their albums, they are doing something awesome. They are killing it at the European scene. And same goes with Gutslit and Godless. So
Yeah.
the amount of bands which are going abroad right now, it's surely increasing, but still it's mm, it takes obviously effort, marketing and such. But when it comes to the scene, eventually it depends on the people who actually kind want to listen to this kind of music. So it's not like everyday music who immediately people will latch on to. You need to have that connect, or you need to have that, like for my example, when I started listening to this music, it was kind of an uh, just like comforted me. I was going through a lot of issues, and metal was that thing which like really comforted me. And I believe these are the same stories which has been shared by a lot of people. It's that kind of music which like just just uh, just
Yeah.
out of nowhere just hits you. So I'm not sure, like for a place like India with such a predominant Bollywood scene, for metal to like go on to that level, like it's very unlikely. But let's see, hope for the best, I would say.
Yeah, that is how I got into metal, I guess. I mean, I was going through some issues, and that music just helped me, calm down or find some comfort, surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, are you
Yeah, I
guys?
think that's metal for you.
Yeah, I guess yes. Are you guys full time musicians now, or do you work and then you play?
No, no,
No,
no. We yeah.
yes, no. So out four of us, only our drummer Moin is a full-time musician. So he's also a producer. He mixes a lot of artists, lot of bands. He's also a full-time drummer. So he plays with a lot of small acts, plays with a lot of Bollywood associated group acts. So he's the only full-time musician in our band. The rest of us, the three of us work. So Naveen and I are in IT, and Varun is in advertising. Varun, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
funny, dude. You don't even know what I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
he,
I'm into design and art. Yeah.
Oh.
uh, it would be great like if we could just play music and like sustain, but it's kind of very naive to even think like that. So
Yeah,
just
I think it's impossible. I think
yeah,
right now in the Indian scene, it's pretty impossible.
but it's okay. Uh, like for us, actually, we work over the weekdays, and weekends are usually pretty much like for all the bands in the scene. We everyone jams on the weekend, so that's how it works for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, except for 2020.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's just an exception for everybody around the world. 2020 has been
Yeah, yeah.
madness.
True, true.
Yeah, it's been terrible. I want, like, tell me about your writing process. I mean, how do you sit and produce your songs? Do you just jam out and then it comes out as a track, or you just sit and do you have a songwriting process as such?
So our songwriting process is quite basic actually. It's I come up with riffs. I sort of write tunes, riffs, come up with certain ideas. I come to the band, present those ideas and riffs to them during the jamming process. We jam it out, yes. We try to sort of make
Hmm.
sure that we are all liking it together. Like like I'll bring 20 riffs, and they'll be like, no, we just like two of these. The rest are not good, and then we'll just sort of discard them. But those two, then we'll sort of work on them till we find a song to go with it. Like you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it's not that just because we find a riff cool, we try to build a song around it. We will take that riff and see if it works
Hmm.
with a a 4x4 or whatever structure, and whether it fits as a nice flow or not. If it still does not work out, we will discard that riff eventually also. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty straightforward. It's just me getting the riff, them putting the ideas in, we put it all together, song comes through. If it's clicking with all, that becomes it goes on a record, it gets recorded or whatever. Otherwise, we just don't. I mean, we don't even look at it. It's that simple. Yeah. With Tenebris, I think the recording process was a little
Oh.
more, uh, I would say, intricate because we spent a lot more time developing the songs in terms of making sure that we are getting certain tones and certain themes right, because the eventual theme of that entire album was something in my head which I couldn't really put forth till we actually came together with all the songs. But we wanted it to be dark. We didn't want it to be like happy, fun, thrash sort of. Because in the earlier album,
Yeah.
we did sort of have fun with a lot of riffs and stuff. But in Tenebris, we wanted to keep it very
Hmm.
focused, very dark. Didn't want to, sort of meander around trying to explore different themes as such. We did explore still. We wrote a ballad, a power ballad, which is very unlikely for a thrash metal band, but we were just like, fuck it, who gives a shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, the songwriting process for Tenebris
True.
compared to all the other stuff was a little intricate, but still pretty basic compared to a lot of other bands that we've seen, writing music and stuff.
So, while working on something like an album, do you guys work on deadlines? Do you set deadlines for completing your stuff, or is it just whenever we complete it, we'll release it?
We do try to. It doesn't work that way though. I mean, unfortunately, there are some there are certain times where since three of us work and Moin has full time musician job, it's very rare that we will have matching timings to sort of get together
Hmm.
and start working on an album. uh, or not even saying an album, just get together and start recording or putting together recorded parts, right? Because what happens is we have to go in phases. So say if I have to go
Hmm.
for vocals one day, so that's just going to be me
Yeah.
because it's going to be on a weekend. Then the next whole week is going to be
Hmm.
spread out open because it might be
Hmm.
Moen doing the drums then, or it might be someone else coming in. or the next weekend, then some other member comes in. So it's actually very open in terms of recording process. The only thing we are very scheduled and tight about is the jams, because
Hmm.
before 2020 we did not miss out more than one weekend in a month. So every weekend was a jam. Maybe one weekend we used to miss out if there was certain urgencies or certain things that came up. So maybe if during the end of the year, Moin usually has a lot more gigs because he works with Bollywood musicians and stuff. So the festive time starts from say September or October,
Yeah.
and then it goes on up till January. So that's something that that was a time when we
Hmm.
couldn't really work too much on the record and stuff. So yeah, I mean it's very flexible that way. We can't really put deadlines because we have to work keeping in mind everyone's frequencies and how they can sort of adjust with whatever times we have.
So does the process get bumpy for you? Like, because there are gaps between 2 or 3 recording sessions, or how many recording sessions you require. So does the process get bumpy? I mean, inconsistencies and stuff.
Yeah, I would say for me it does. I would ask Nikhil what he thinks. I think for me it does get a little bumpy because I have to do two parts in the
Yeah,
band. I
exactly.
have to do my rhythms and then I have to do vocals separately. So for me to wait for them to get done with the instrumentation and then go and do the vocals, that sort of gets a little bumpy. But I would ask Nikhil what he thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, it does stretch out, does get bumpy, but we have to make the best of what we can. So like for for most of us, weekdays aren't available,
Side by side
but
बना सकते
for
तो
Moin,
90.
weekend sometimes is not available. So this kind of works the best. Or else if we want to finish off a certain section or a song, we do meet over a weekend and we try and finish as much songs as possible. So the good part, which we are lucky, is that our drummer Moin itself is our recording engineer. So in that way, we do have some leeway as to we can give our best takes, and we do have that leverage of extended time, and we take our time in recording and everything.
Language.
But yeah, but this will be this will be a headache, uh, as long as if the schedules are conflicting. So yeah, like we have not tried like many musicians who just pick out a whole week or 2 weeks. They just go into a studio and we wanted to try that, but it was just not feasible for us. Hopefully in the next record we might try that. But for this and the previous EP as well, it has been the same way as Varun suggested, like weekend basis where the individual member come and record these parts and leave.
I'd just add to that. I would say it's not bad though. I mean, it still works in our favor in the end, and it still keeps the band going. So I think that's more important than anything else in this scene, at least.
So talking about
Yeah.
Tenebris, there are two songs which are, I think, social or political commentaries. I think it's Saffron is the New Black and Eradicate the Empire. So are you guys political in your approach in songwriting,
Yes, right.
or is this something you knew you tried this in this album, or for this album specifically?
No, 100%. We are pretty much all out there when it comes to saying what is right and what is wrong. I mean, I know there's two factions right now
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
country. Uh, I can't really say as a regular 9 to 5 working person. I can't really say who's right or wrong in terms of what political ideologies they follow. But I can see that one side is definitely fucking up. And when we put out music, uh, we can't just stay silent that okay, this is happening, and we are just going to go around and be merry about it and write our little power
Hmm.
ballads and shit. No, that's not going to happen. So yeah, so Saffron is the New Black and Eradicate actually Eradicate happened a while back. Eradicate is just an overall outcry against
Power,
all
all power and authority.
you
Yeah.
can say institutions. Yeah, everything that holds power, everything that is sort of institutionalized and tries to hold you down. That's Eradicate is against all of that. But Saffron was, yeah, it's pretty much,
Yeah, yeah,
you know who I'm talking about. It's pretty much against that one
yeah.
party
He
and that
who
one
must not be
person.
named.
Yeah, so we didn't want to hold
Yeah.
back. Yeah, true. He's become Santa Claus now, so we can
Yeah,
call him
yeah,
Santa.
he can. Yeah, we can. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it was a very natural thing. We usually hang out and chill at bars and
hmm.
watering holes and shit, and that's sort of our thing. So Nikhil, I think we were just having a conversation, and I think Nikhil came up with this phrase. I mean, orange is the new black is already a very
Yeah,
cult phrase and everything. And then he just came up with the phrase that it's not orange anymore, it's just saffron, and saffron is the new black or something like that. I don't remember because we were really drunk, I think, then, but I remembered the phrase. And we decided that we'll keep it as a song, we will make a song around it.
sure.
And then I think it's our most heartfelt song, you can say, because everything came forward just like that. It was just 2 days of making the song. We went into the jam room. I had the lyrics written. I showed Moin a riff. He came up with a drum part which is very unique, and he was like, the whole band was actually like,
Hmm.
let's just roll with it. This is a good sounding riff, great sounding drum lick. We should build a song on this. I think we built the song in 2 jams, and that was about it. That's how the song was written. We didn't really push it. We didn't really try to make it fancy or anything. We just
Yeah,
went with
it's
it.
not even preachy. I mean, it's just like it's just an honest opinion. That's why the song is kind of very, very outspoken and direct. I can say. Yeah. So,
Right.
is the current political environment motivating for you to write more music?
Well, I mean, it is. It is. I would love to, write and just scream about things that are happening right now. The only issue is, if you step out, you might die.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, not die, but we might end
Being
up
hurts. Yeah, seriously
infecting
hurt.
someone else. So it's a sick phase. Yeah, and we do. I mean, we have, when we get on to calls, and the last time we jammed, we had a lot of ideas in terms of what is
Hmm.
happening right now. But writing music, to be honest, is not the priority right now. It's just, every one of us was hit some way or the other in, financially. Moin, especially since he's, an independent musician, he tries to make work of everything that
Hmm.
his art is. And since the entire live music industry was,
Yeah.
shut off, there's a lot of issues that we had to face. We all took some hitbacks, but yeah, I mean, so the first priority was getting back on our feet, staying healthy, and when the time is right, yes, we will eventually get out, and write something really cool, uh, something as heartfelt as Saffron. We don't want to put a date on it because that's never
Yeah.
how it has worked
Eh,
for us. But yeah, it's one thing that I would say is it will happen. With Carnage
Yeah,
Inc, it
on all
always does.
also to add, like on that point, definitely, at least, like we have been very much outspoken regarding our political and other views, be it on an individual basis or be it via the band, and those are the ideas and ideals which we stand on. So of course, this not everyone agrees to what we say or what are our opinion, but it's like very much important to us that our art and music highlights those issues. So like we were not afraid of any like fallback or anything which might come our way when we release that song, because we knew there will be two separate opinions. But like when it comes to thrash, and if you see thrash in general, it's always been an angry anti-establishment kind of music, and it very much resonates with us. So definitely means I think so we won't like go back on what we think is important for us to speak out. And definitely from our end, if it's important enough, we will write about it. So we are not like any afraid or anything about the consequences or such.
So I remember someone flagged the launch of Saffron. I mean, when he
oh,
launched the song, the premiere actually, we did it from Moshpit
okay.
Records, not Record, sorry, Moshpit PR. Yeah, so we did it through them, and they launched it through another website or something. And I think 2 or 3 people flagged it, and it was
Uh,
taken down. So we had to sort of re-upload and everything.
yeah, I
Gladly, the
mean,
second time,
you
no one
you
did that.
guys wrote a song. Even memes are getting flagged for being funny, politically funny. But I mean, do you think like Indian music lacks this? There's a culture. I mean, in America, if you see hip hop or even rock or metal, for some, talks a lot about the against the establishment and against the political powers. But do you think there's like India needs that culture? The last song I heard, which was somewhat against the establishment or something, was Azadi, I guess from Gully Boy, and that received a lot of flack as well from the
Right.
supporters of the ruling party. But do you think it's lacking in India? I mean, and India needs that. It is lacking. I mean, but does India need that now more than any time, any when?
I wouldn't say that there's not music which is supporting a revolution, or music which is supporting anti-establishment ideas is not there in India. It is there. The thing is, it's not getting picked up by mainstream media. It's not getting picked up by people who are say who have clout.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you know this rap act. I don't know if they're rap or hip hop, but there's this act called Swadesi, right? So they were very much. They wrote a song which sort of showed why it was wrong that RA is being cut down, and they were joined by actual activists who were standing on ground in RA and everything, and they put them on record. They put them on the song.
Oh.
So I don't think it's not there. It's there.
Hmm.
There are people speaking out. There are people speaking out through song, through music, whatever. I mean, there's people speaking out through art. It's there. Is the only thing is they either get blacked out, they either get stomped on, or majorly there's no one who's ready to sort of take them and put them out there and say that, okay, look at this guy. This guy is saying something right. Listen to him. That's not happening. So I think a lot of the regional industries in terms of mainstream movies and
Hmm.
music, that is much more effective in these themes,
Yeah.
because I would say, because if you look at the farmers protest now,
Hmm.
so the north, a lot of the Punjabi industry has come forth and stood by the
Yeah.
farmers,
Yeah.
right?
They have. They have.
So that's something they have a lot of. I would say they have much more connect with their roots
Hmm.
than Bollywood, because they still don't they're still fearless, right?
Yeah.
They don't really value not going back and not getting work over someone losing their livelihood
Hmm.
or someone losing food from their plates. So I think that is essential more than, because there is someone speaking up. There is always going to be someone. If you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, there are so many people who are just pointing out the right things, the wrong things, or rather the
Hmm.
flaws in what is happening right now, and they're giving solutions, the right things to do.
Yeah.
But no one's lapping it up. The media is, how the situation is.
Jingoism.
We actually wanted to write songs about the media, since you asked, what we have in mind. But we actually wanted to write a song on the media. We wanted to write a song on how dual faced people can be when they are on social media, and what they are in real life.
Hmm.
So there's a ton of things that is happening. To just sum up some of the answer for your question, I would say there is a lot of potential that the artists have in speaking up at what is wrong. There is not enough avenues and not enough, uh, I would say, amplification of that noise.
Hmm.
and
Yeah, and that's
and
that's what I
also,
think.
like, if you see, like in some cases there have been crazy repercussions as well. So just it's like stop, like for,
Right.
if you see some comedians and some artists like who have gone on and they have been hit with crazy FIRs, they have been, the venues have
Yeah.
been shut down, venues have been destroyed. So it's not,
Yeah.
not
That's
if
true.
it's not that easy just to go out there and just say. So it depends on the situation as well. There are so many crazy knuckleheads out there who obviously can't think what's right or wrong from their brain. But there are there,
Right.
there are
That's
there are
right.
there are several artists out there who are pushing for this. But yeah.
Yeah. I guess the fact that I guess these people who destroy the venues and stuff, they get a lot of power because there are only a few voices doing it. I think so. There's not a huge number of people, or the bigger people who can afford to lose a venue or something like that. That's why I guess they get a power. Suppose, like, for comedians, for example, If they receive flack or they are beaten up, those venues are destroyed, their careers are over. They don't have the capacity to stand back again on their feet. I guess that is why the culture
Right.
hasn't developed.
Yeah, you're perfectly right on that. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's you're right on that. Like, it's kind of like an intimidating scene, intimidating culture. But see, the
Hmm.
voices, irrespective, there are always been certain acts of people who definitely who come up and speak what's right, and I definitely think every artist in some capacity should do that because it's important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what better form than art to do it?
Yeah. Also, I mean, it sounds a little preachy, but one big voice is not maybe won't get as much impact as a million small voices just rising up together, right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, if there are more people just speaking up in their small way, someone has to take notice. That's what happened in a lot of the countries which actually had revolutions. It was not one person or
Hmm.
one small unit of people talking up. It was the entire sort of community coming together and saying that this is wrong. This can't happen, and that's what is happening with the farmers' protest. I wish them all the luck. I hope that this shitty bill gets repealed. They're going to be fucked over otherwise. But yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great that they're standing the ground, and yeah, full support to them. I hope they get what they deserve.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. We share the same political views. It's difficult to find people with this, the view against the power.
True. I think that has cut our view. I would say what we had, the viewership, what we had for the last EP,
Hmm.
with songs like Eradicate and Saffron. I think we cut that into half
Oh
because
God.
we could see it. We could see it on the YouTube pages. We could see it on our Facebook pages. We could see that people sort of shied away from sharing or speaking about these songs, which is cool with us. I mean, we don't. It's fine. We are happy that at least some people found what we were saying is making sense. If some
Yeah.
don't, that's fine. I mean, maybe they. I hope they realize sooner or later.
Yeah. They might. I mean, everyone's going to suffer if this continues. That's going to happen.
True.
So, yeah. I mean, let's move on though now. Like, how was your tour life before the lockdown, and how do you think is going to change after the lockdown whenever it is over?
I just hope it gets back to the same. That's all I have to say. I just hope it gets back to the same routine that we had. It was going great. I'm not expecting anything special. I just hope it gets back to us jamming every weekend, us making music every weekend, and then eventually putting out an album soon. Nothing special at first.
But it depends. Sorry, it depends usually on the venues. I think so. They have taken a massive hit because of this extended period of lockdowns and everything. So now it depends on the venue how sustainable it is for them to like now continue for a prolonged period. I think so. There are a couple of gigs have begun. I think so. I saw Zignema playing in, right, Varun? Few weeks back they played in Antisocial, I believe. So gigs have started opening up, but those are with strict measures. So
Yeah, a,
like
a lot of comedians have also
I,
started touring, so I expect it. But I mean, do you
yes,
think it's going to take a hit?
um, probably I think so. They have already taken a hit. Uh, now it depends how or especially for like for if you say metal gigs for example. So it's not like a
Hmm.
comedian gig where the people are just sitting here in rock shows or metal show. There are always people moving around, throwing shit and all that. And with this situation, like to
Exactly.
maintain social distance, to do this, that, it's a huge ask. So right now, what we saw for a couple of weeks, like there were limited entry, strict checks and all. And so for now, I think so that this is how it's going. But in the future, hopefully there should be a similar situation, but as of now it's not looking so great. Like if for extended periods of the venues are shut down, I think for them, I think so from the business point of view, it's a huge loss. But hope for the best. I think so probably by mid next year, the the
Uh,
scene should open up.
where have you guys toured before the lockdown? I mean, have you traveled across cities? Have you had a multi-city tour or something like that? I asked this question because I wanted to know how well is the culture received across India. I mean, are there any hotspots, for example, where this culture is extremely well received?
Yeah, we haven't really traveled so much outside India. Sorry, outside the city. So we've
Hmm.
been to Pune quite a few times. We've
Hmm.
been to Hyderabad a few times. Bangalore, I think once or twice, and once only, I think. And yeah, I think that's, and Kochi once. Yeah. So that's about it. So apart from those, actually the we had plans to promote Tenebris with
Hmm.
the full-fledged multi-city tour in India. We
Hmm.
had spoken to people all across and everything, and things were looking quite swell actually until December hit, and because we started with Hyderabad, sorry, we started with Mumbai. We got the launch gig. We were supposed to go to Hyderabad and then move to Kochi and then Delhi and stuff. But then, things didn't work out. Airports were getting flagged and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, even we didn't want to take the risk, and the venue owners and promoters and everyone, even they were sort of held back on making that call whether we should have the gig or not. So in the best interest of whatever was happening, I think yeah, we just chose to not do it. So we held back on. We actually made a quick move and decided not to book a lot of tickets and stuff. So we saved some good amount of money actually by thinking a little foresightedly sort of because otherwise we were going to book tickets and stuff in the next week itself when the decision was taken, and we would have lost quite a lot of money actually all of the money that we made selling the records. So yeah, I mean that would have been a massive hit, but that was the plan. But considering your question, it is well received in terms of, again, it's a small community. On Facebook it might seem like it's 40,000, 50,000 strong, but there's still going to be like 200 people only in per city who are going to turn up for local gigs. So whenever those 200 people show up, it's always a blast. I wouldn't say I want anything more. It's always a blast just to see them come across and tell us that one of our songs or any of our songs means so much to them. So for instance, I'll tell you something about Kochi. So when we went there, it was a tour with two other bands, Kilchain and Dark. So once we reached there, we were told that okay, this ground is going to be a venue, and we are expecting about 300 to 400 people,
Hmm.
which is a good, which is a very good number for a local metal
Yeah,
band's gig.
exactly.
So we were quite hyped, and it was quite great, like going in there very strong and everything. But it started raining, unfortunately, and it turned into really heavy showers and stuff. The ground was flooded with the ones where we were going to play. Sound equipment had to be moved out. So eventually, eventually we got a call from the organizer, and he said that it's not happening.
Oh boy.
So we were like, okay, cool. I mean, what next? But then the organizer moved it to a local church, just a small local church, and still 150 people turned up even after that debacle.
That's
So
great. That's
still
great.
having 150
A
people
metal
turning
gig
up,
in a
and
church.
yeah, it was an old decrepit church. The I think the priest was pretty cool to give us that place, considering there was a lot of anti
Yeah,
god themes and stuff. But yeah, it was cool. That was one experience that has stayed with me in terms of how this community is super strong.
that's great. I mean, the smaller the community, I guess, more loyal the fans are, and I mean, the more well received the music
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
That's great. That's great. Are there any bands I should look out for? I mean, in this Indian scene, any bands you could suggest?
I'd name some, and then maybe Nikhil can name some. I think the two I mentioned earlier from the same area as us, from Vasai, which is Bloodkill, who have just put out, who
Sabotage.
are just going to put out an album, and the other is Sabotage,
Hmm.
which is another great act. They
Hmm.
are going to put out a song very soon. Apart from that, I would say Amorphia is a very cool band. They are very kick-ass live, very strong, going head
Hmm.
first. I think there's another band. I'm right now not. Chaos is one band which are they're quite experienced and they're sort of veterans in the scene. Other than that, there are quite a few big bands who you can you'll just find or you might already know about. I'm just going to name the few
Hmm.
the local ones. Other than that, I think Illusia is a very upcoming cool band. I think I actually liked what they put out last. So yeah, them and other than that, I can't really think of any now. I think Nikhil can cover me up over
So for me, I
Yeah,
think
Nikhil.
so. I've been a huge fan of Cryptos from Bangalore. I think so. Probably they are my favorite band from India. So check it out. I think so. Everyone should check Cryptos out. They are just absolutely fantastic. So Cryptos, and there is Pacifist from Bombay, the another killer act Pacifist. Then since I like my music more on the riff aspect, slow heavy riff aspect of that, so I like Devasi from Bangalore. You can also obviously you
Hmm.
mentioned Godless Gutslit who are also killing it. So yeah, these guys,
Yeah.
these are the staple which I kind of tend to listen to a lot more from the Indian scene.
We actually had Siddharth from the Pacifist as our first guest on the podcast.
Yeah. I've checked that. I've checked that. It was a quite cool
Yeah.
podcast.
it. Yeah, we actually checked that out for reference.
Oh, really? That's great. I mean, yeah, Siddharth is a great guest. I mean, had a lot of fun with him.
Yeah, cool kid. Cool kid as in cool chap.
Yeah, very. I also checked out. I also checked out your episode with him, Haramko Rink. Yeah,
Yeah. That was a
he's a
fun.
fun guy.
That was a fun podcast. They actually came to our studio in Vasai,
Yeah,
in Alasupara actually,
yeah,
and
that's what I
it was
saw.
great.
You guys have
Yeah, it
your
was
own
great.
studio. That's cool.
Yeah, and then we went for
What can
some.
we expect? Yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying that we just got smashed after that. Nothing serious.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's what we plan to do in the future. We want to visit bands and see where they work and understand, because like indie bands have a story behind them.
Yeah, that actually works great,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, the COVID has fucked that up for us. Every band has a story behind them, and they have their own cultures and there's everything about
True,
them.
true.
There's an aesthetic to every band, and we'd like to understand that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's actually. I mean, where they come from is something what defines their music, right?
Exactly. I mean, I told you, as I told you before. I mean, coming from Vasai and a thrash metal band from Vasai, that's what intrigued me in the first place about you guys, and I was like, yeah, we got to have these
Super.
guys on the podcast. What can we expect from you in the future now? I mean, what does 2021 bring from Carnage?
So hopefully, at least a new song. That's one definite thing that we want to do. Uh, and if the live music scene sort of gets back on its feet, then hopefully a gig, which we can sort of compensate for not doing entire tour or something. So we would like to go to some
Hmm.
other city uh, other than Bombay and stuff, and then do some gigs over there. But that's only if if it's safe and all that. I mean, we won't pine too much on that. But one
Yeah, of
definite
course.
thing is we would love to put out one or two. I don't know, like an EP. I don't know. Right now, one song is definite. We are planning for that, and it's in the works.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Looking forward.
Nikhil, you want to add something to
Uh,
that?
no, that was yeah, just the song. I think so. It's been some time since we have released anything, so probably a song soon and maybe an EP or album. So that's for the later part, but definitely something from us. Hopefully, a fast thrashy song expected from us. Hopefully.
Sure. That was fun, guys. I mean, it's such a great experience to have you here. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, same here, man.
Looking forward to everything you put out. Looking forward to see you in Pune sometime soon.
Yeah, this was really great. I hope you keep on getting cool local acts. So yeah, great doing that work. Hope you have all the luck and best of luck actually going
Yeah.
and meeting them. I hope things get better
Thanks, man.
and you can do that actually.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being there. All the best for everything
Yeah.
you do in the future.
Sure, awesome talking to you, Pranav.
Same here, man. Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
So that was Nikhil and Varun from Carnage Inc. We hope you liked this episode. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook for more info on these guys and a lot more acts like them. And stay tuned. See you next week.